Hey guys, it's Jack here, and today I'm super excited because today I'm going to be giving you my power rankings and my predictions on the Canadian Premier League 2024 season, where everyone is going to finish up, an overview of the teams, and how each team season could shape up. So I am so excited for the season to start, so let's get right into it. Coming in at number 8 is Valor. I'm liking the way this Valor team is shaping up. I think they have a lot of good players. They have Sean Hundle, who I think will be great for leading line and will get them a lot of goals. They are a hardworking team, good defensively. Last year, I felt were a bit unfortunate to fall in last place, and they have a coach that I think is really cool and I really like. They also have quite a few players that I really enjoy watching, but for me, I think that overall, they improved with players like, I feel like Zachary Secunda will be a nice addition. They got Noah Verhoeven, and they still have players like Rafael Ohin, Marcelo Polisi, and they got Sean Hundle. And overall, I think that they got in some pretty cool players I think are going to make a good contributions to them this season. But I also feel like they lost key players. And even though I feel like they got better, their team did get better, I feel like the whole league got better. And I don't think that the amount that they got better by is enough to move them into a higher place for the upcoming season. Coming in at number 7 is York United. So York United, I'm actually very excited to see how they do this season. I was really sad to see Angus McNabb leave, but I am excited to see them again this season. They kept some important players like Elijah Chikube, Matthew Baldissimo. They have Mo Babuli, Max Ferrari, Austin Ricci. I think those players are going to be really important for them this season. But the reason I put them down lower is because I feel that they lost Lapere, they lost Ozaze Di Rosario, and again, kind of the same thing as Valor. I feel like overall, I kind of feel like they improved, but they lost some important players, and I don't know if they improved enough to necessarily move higher. And I feel like they will go down this upcoming season. I definitely might be wrong with this because you have some really exciting players. It looks like some players coming from Mexico. They have a goalkeeper from Belgium coming in. And it does look like they did strengthen their team a lot, but I do feel like it's not quite enough that's going to get them to a playoff spot. And I feel like the other teams in the league are better right now. Okay, so now from like place number 3 to place number 6, this was really, really hard for me. It was really difficult for me to do and choose because I feel like all these teams are really, really good and could do really well, and it could come down to just not being able to take their chances on one match day, or a really bad injury to a key player. So, even last year, you saw that those places from 2 to 6, it was very, very close. Within a matter of games, things could have been shifted around. So I think it's gonna be really close, and I find it really hard to pick. And some people are gonna be really surprised when I say this, but I do feel that Pacific are going to be the team that's going to be in 6th place. Now, the reason I say that is because I feel like they lost Amir Didic, they lost Manny Aparicio, and kind of the same thing again. They lost really important players. Like those two that I just mentioned were really important for them. Isan Ongaro, I thought was a good pickup that they also lost, but it's very cool that he's playing in Italy now. But I just feel like defensively I feel like they're a good team still. I feel like they have a lot of really good players that I'm excited to see again. Kunle Luke, there's Pierre Lamoth, Josh Hurts, Sean Young. There's a lot of players that I'm excited to see, but I just feel like personally for me, I don't think they're gonna do as good because I feel like these other teams like Vancouver FC, Atletico Ottawa, but the Halifax Wanderers, Forge, Calgary, I feel like these teams right now are better than them, and they're doing really well, and they strengthened a lot over the offseason. I don't feel like Pacific did as much, and I don't think they're going to be able to get a playoff spot this season. Moving on to number 5. This one was even harder than number 6. Like I said, 6-3 was really hard for me. I think it's gonna be Vancouver VFC. So last season they did not have the best campaign, but it was their inaugural season. It was the start of their club, and there is definitely some learning curves involved with starting a new club and being able to compete at like the top of the league. But this season, I think they're going to be really exciting because last season, it seemed like at the end of last season, they kind of made everything click. In the last 6 games, I believe they won their last 4, and things looked really good, and things look really exciting. So that's a good sign. And then at the beginning of the season, I think they've done really good work in the offseason. They brought in players like Paris G, Grady McDonald, David Norman, and these players I think are going to be really cool because Paris G has been playing really well for a long time in the league, and I think he's going to be a really good addition to this VFC side. Then you have, like I said, David Norman, who has experience in the league, but also has recently played overseas in Ireland, has gotten great experience. I think I'm really excited to see him come back to the CPL and see the growth in his game. I'm also really excited to see Grady McDonald as a 15-year-old already playing in the professional game. I think that's absolutely incredible. So I'm very excited to see how he plays. And I think he may be the new player coming to the CPL that I'm most excited to see out of the whole league. And as a 15-year-old myself, that's super inspirational. So I'm very excited to see him and how he plays. He also plays for the Republic of Ireland's youth national team, so I think he's a great pickup by VFC, and I'm very excited to see him. Then, in addition to that, you have people like Zachary Verhoeven, Ben Fisk, Jose Navarro, you have Alejandro Diaz, and you have Caden Chung, Teo Campagna, you have Tyler Crawford, you have Rocco Romeo, you have James Cameron. You have this great mix of young players with like Grady McDonald, James Cameron, but you also have these veterans that are great leaders like Benjamin Fisk. Even if you just talk to Ben for a little bit, you can immediately see that he's a fantastic leader, and he's such a great player as well. One other player I am so excited to see again for Vancouver FC is Elliot Simmons. I love Elliot. He is such a nice guy. He was always one of the friendliest players around when I was a ball boy at the Wanderers in the first year of the CPL. He's made over 100 appearances between his time at the Wanderers, Cavalry, and Vancouver FC now. I always thought he was fantastic at the Wanderers whenever he played. I think that he grew so much at Cavalry. I really liked him in his Regista role with Tommy Wilton Jr. And I think that this step in Vancouver, like last season and this season, it's grown him even more as a player, and I'm really excited to see him again this season because he's one of my favorite players to watch in the league. And he's, like I said, he's just an awesome guy. I'm really excited to see this VFC team, and I think I would have loved to put them higher because I think they did some amazing work, but I think probably they're going to get in 5th, but definitely like next year I can definitely see them getting a playoff spot. But yeah, it should be really exciting to see them. Number 4, so the first playoff team, I'm going to put Atletico Ottawa. I'm really excited to see Atletico Ottawa. They did a big rebuild over this offseason, and I think it's going to pay off. They got Amir Didic. They have Luke Singh. They have Manny Aparicio. They have Abubakar Sissoko, Liberman Torres, who I think it's super cool that he's coming from Villarreal CFB in Spain, because that is a really high level already, and as a defensive midfielder, that's someone that I'm very excited to see. And you also have players like the under-21 player of last year, Mateo DeBrian. You have Chris Twardek. I think you just have a lot of great players that are coming in, and maybe that's that Atletico Madrid effect with all these amazing players wanting to play for this club. But it's really cool because I think that they had a good base already. They had a good base already with players like Ollie Bassett, Maxime Tissot. They had Nathan Ingham. But I think now that you see all these other players coming in, this team is going to be really good. And on paper, it could arguably be one of the best teams in the CPL. But like I said, I think things are going to be really close, and I believe that they will get the 4th spot. But I think it all depends on how well all these new players click. If Atletico Ottawa are able to get all their players to click, if all the players buy into the philosophy, if they work well together, I think this could be a really amazing team and go way higher than fourth, maybe getting probably second, and there's even a chance for them to win it. But I think they will end up in fourth. Coming in number 3, I think it's going to be the Wanderers. So I love the Wanderers. I was a ball boy for the Wanderers in the inaugural season of the CPL, and I think there's no hiding that I absolutely love the club. Last season, the Wanderers did really well. I think Patrice did a really great job of picking the team and getting the players to buy into his vision, play the way he wants, and it showed on the field because they played really well, and I really liked watching them. And like coming off a great season like that, what I think is great is that they kept some of their really core important players like Daniel Nimick, Lorenzo Caligari, Thiago Coimbra, Zachary Fernandez, Massimo Ferrin, and some of these players I'm even surprised that we still have, because I thought they did so good. Some of them would have gone over to Europe or gone to MLS, but at least for this season, I'm really glad that we still have them, because like Lorenzo Caligari, he was amazing for our team. He was like the heartbeat, and personally one of my favorite players to watch is Zachary Fernandez. I love seeing him bomb up and down the field. And Massimo Ferrin and Thiago Coimbra were really welcome additions, and I really enjoyed watching them. But what's cool is you're building off of that too, because we added really good players like Giorgio Probo, who I'm supremely excited to see. La Paré, it's his second stint with the club, and I thought he did really well in his first stint with the club, so I'm excited to see him back, see where he slots in. Then you also have Vitor Diaz, and a Brazilian number 10 playmaker kind of player, good at threading passes. I'm really excited to see him too. There are a lot of players I'm really excited to see. And then you also have Julian Dunn, a player that has such a bright future. I remember watching him at the Island Games. He was one of the players that impressed me so much there. And then I believe he went to Norway, but he had a knee injury, and unfortunately that kind of like set back his road in Europe and stuff like that. But I think that the move back to the CPL would be a good one for him. I think he'll do really well here. I think he'll get minutes. He will stand out and probably attract attention from Europe again sometime in the near future. And I think that there's just all this potential with this team. I think this team is going to do really well, and I think it's just going to click again. I think because you kept a lot of the same core, but you also added some good tweaks and adjustments, I think they're going to do really well, and I wouldn't be surprised if they got even higher than third. So I'm very excited to see the Halifax Wanderers again in action. And hopefully when next time I'm back in Canada, I can go back to the Wanderers grounds, and maybe, just maybe, the new stadium will be officially green lighted to be built, and that will be really cool. Coming in second is Ford. So this one I also wasn't too sure of, because they have lost a couple players, but with Bobby Smirniotis and this team of proven winners, I don't think you can really bet against them. I do not think they are going to win the regular season or the North Star Shield again, but I do believe that they will be contenders yet again. I mean, they have Terran Campbell, they have Cisse, they have Kyle Becker, Alexander Audianson, they have Tristan Borges, they have they have Alexander Hajapur, and they have David Chanier. They have all these players that are really... They also added the Guinean winger Nana, and I'm really excited to see him play. I think that there's a lot of potential for this team to do really well. I don't think they're going to win the North Star Shield, and maybe even putting them second is a little high, because there were some other teams that I thought about for the second place. But I think they will do well, even despite the loss of Abubakar Sissoko and Wobians Pashas, two players that I thought were really good for them. And then coming in first place, who I think is going to win the regular season, the North Star Shield, everything, it's going to be Cavalry. I mean, last season they were on roll. They won by a considerable margin in their regular season, and I just think their team looks really strong. You have Marco Carducci, you have Fraser Ard, you have Tom Field, Dan Klomp, and you have Sergio Camargo. You have Lucas Dias, who is from Sporting. As a Canadian living in Portugal, playing in the Portuguese youth system, playing against these teams like Benfica and Sporting. They have some fantastic players in this country, and I'm so excited to see Lucas Dias here. I think he's going to be a fantastic addition to the team. And yeah, I think it's going to be awesome. Then you have players like Diego Gutierrez coming from Valor, one of Valor's star players. And then you have players like William Accio, a player that I've interviewed twice and I really, really like. You have Shamit Shom, a player that has MLS experience, has also played in the Canadian Premier League before, but he has MLS experience, has played at a high level. And I think he's going to be a great player for them. You also got Malcolm Shaw from Atletico Ottawa. You have Ali Musi. You have Tobias Warachevsky. You have all these players that are so incredible, and I think the Cavalry is going to win this. You have Tommy Whelan Jr. at the helm of it all. And for anyone who knows me, I love Tommy. I love Cavalry. And I think that they're going to do really well and win. And really, there's not much else I need to say. The players are looking amazing. The coach is fantastic. And they just look like a really solid team. They have so much depth, so much quality. And I think they're going to win this. And I'm really excited to see them play the season because I think they're going to be a really fun team to watch. So tell me, what do you think of my predictions? Do you think I'm going to be right? Do you think I got it all wrong? Let me know what you think of my predictions and what your predictions are down below in the comments. I'd love to see them. And yeah, I think it's going to be a really exciting season. So stay tuned and subscribe if you want to hear more analysis from specific games and interviews with players from the league. And I'll see you guys next time. Ciao.